I never thought my own sister, the person who shared my childhood, my family, my home, would rip my heart out, stomp on it, and set it on fire by stealing my fiancé, my wedding, and my dignity, all in one swoop. But guess what? She did, and she did it with a smug smile on her face. Now she's back, broke, desperate, and drowning in the mess she created, begging me for help. And here I am, torn between serving up the most satisfying revenge of all time or taking the high road like some kind of saint. My name's Laura. I'm the younger daughter in a blended family, though the only thing blended about us was the constant swirl of arguments. My mom had my half-sister Sarah with her first husband, who unfortunately passed away when Sarah was 5. Then Mom remarried my dad and I came along a year later. Growing up, Sarah claimed everything belonged to her, from the house to the business my mom and dad built together, even down to the spoons in the kitchen drawer. She'd say stuff like, "My real dad bought all this before he died. You and your mooch of a dad have no right to any of it." When I was around 5, I found some colored pencils lying around. I started drawing, because that's my jam, and she stormed in screaming about how they were hers and tore up my sketches. That's when I learned I'd never just be a normal sister in her eyes. I'd always be the intruder. My parents tried to keep the peace. They gave us matching clothes, matching gifts, matching everything, but Sarah always found a reason to say I got the better version. When she left for college, our house felt 1,000 times lighter. Mom was hopeful the distance would help Sarah heal. Dad hinted that maybe therapy would solve her anger issues. By the time she graduated, I was also heading off to college for design. Life seemed so promising. That's where I met Jason, the guy who swept me off my feet and later stepped on my heart. But we'll get there soon enough. Fast forward to my final year of college. Jason and I had been dating for 2 years, talking marriage, browsing apartments, the whole 9 yards. I took him home to meet my parents. Even Sarah showed up, acting kind of polite, like an actual human being. It was almost creepy. She kept smiling and nodding, as if we hadn't spent our entire childhood locked in Mortal Kombat. Later, I posted on Reddit's Am I the A**** hole forum, asking if I should feel guilty for not wanting to invite my half-sister to my future wedding. The responses were mixed. User 1, "She's family, you kinda have to, or you'll regret it." User 2, "You owe her nothing. She was awful to you." User 3, "Try to forgive, or at least pretend to. Weddings are stressful enough." I decided to be the bigger person and let her in on the wedding planning. Biggest mistake of my life. In the end, she didn't just attend the wedding, she took it. Literally. 2 months before our big day, Mom got sick. Dad said she needed immediate surgery. Of course, I dropped everything to go home and take care of her. Sarah stayed behind in the city, claiming important meetings. Meanwhile, Jason and I agreed to postpone the wedding until Mom recovered. It felt like the right thing to do. A few weeks pass. Jason stops answering my calls. Texts go unread. It's like he vanished. So I show up at our apartment unannounced, worried he might be sick or in some kind of trouble. The front door was unlocked. Big red flag. I found them in our bedroom, Sarah and Jason in bed looking extremely comfortable. My heart plummeted to my feet. Sarah had the audacity to say, "Hey sis, sorry you had to find out this way, but Jason and I are in love." I wanted to scream, "Am I the A*** hole here, or are you two just monsters?" She then said, "We were kinda hoping to, take over your wedding date. Since everything's already booked and paid for, it'd be a shame to waste it." I wanted to throw up. Instead, I ran out, hopped on the first bus back home, and collapsed into a puddle of tears in my childhood bedroom. Naturally, Dad threatened to disown Sarah. Mom was heartbroken. But Sarah's reaction? She laughed. She said, "Fine, if that's how you want to play it, I'll make sure I win in the end." Suddenly, neighbors got involved. Like, for no logical reason. Our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Pickles, yes, that's her name, knocked on our door to share some wise words. She was like, "Y'all should talk this out. In my day, sisters were best friends," as if that would help. Then she brought over a tomato casserole and left it on the counter, telling me, "Eat some tomatoes, dear. They help with heartbreak." Did it help? Not really, but the gesture was bizarrely sweet. Meanwhile, Dad's best friend, Mr. Delgado, caught wind of the drama. He told half the town that Sarah ran off with my fiancé to start some kind of get-rich-quick wedding scheme. That turned into gossip that they'd sold my wedding to a traveling circus. I wish I were joking, but this rumor took off like wildfire. Suddenly, people started telling me they felt sorry that my fiancé joined the circus. I spent hours setting the record straight. No, he's not literally in a circus. He's just an idiot. Sarah and Jason actually got married on my reserved venue date, using my down payments and planning. Jason's parents felt terrible, so they reimbursed me. That was a small victory. But it didn't stop Sarah from bragging all over social media, posting pictures of her big day with the hashtags #TrueLove and #FinallyChosen. She even wrote this bizarre rant about how I'd always stolen from her, and this was her turn to shine. She made me sound like the evil stepsister from Cinderella. Then she started complaining that I somehow owed her because she'd had a rough upbringing, always overshadowed by me. What? She posted an AIT thread, claiming she was the victim. The replies roasted her alive. Commenter A, yes, you are the biggest a-hole in AITA history. Commenter B, you stole your sister's fiancé. What do you expect, a cookie? Commenter C, classic narcissist move. Get therapy. It was the first time I felt a teeny bit vindicated. While all this was blowing up online, life back home took a turn for the absurd. One evening, Mom and I were doing dishes when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find the entire group of neighbors from our street. They were carrying pies, cookies, even a giant pot of gumbo. Turns out, they wanted to show support by staging an impromptu Stop Sarah's Shenanigans block party on our lawn. They were serious. They set up folding chairs, started a bonfire in an old fire pit, and passed around hot cocoa, while discussing my family drama in real time. Some started chanting silly slogans like, "Sisters shouldn't steal." Others shared their own family horror stories, which were so outlandish I couldn't tell if they were trying to comfort me or one-up me. Dad was beyond annoyed, telling them to pack up and go home. But they refused, claiming it was for the greater good. Talk about comedic chaos. Just when I thought it couldn't get crazier, Sarah showed up at the block party. She was furious about the "Stop Sarah's Shenanigans" sign taped to a tree. She started yelling that she was misunderstood, that I was the real villain. One neighbor tried to calm her with a slice of pie, which ended up smashed against the side of Sarah's car in all the yelling and flailing. The comedic sight of pie dripping down her window was overshadowed by the intense screaming match that followed. Sarah, you all have no idea what I've been through. Neighbor #1. Stealing your sister's fiancé was your idea of therapy, or what? Neighbor #2. You owe Laura an apology big time. Sarah stormed off, but not before throwing a plate of cupcakes onto the ground, yelling, "This isn't over, Laura." A year passed. The heartbreak dulled, and I focused on my career in design with Mom and Dad's company. That's when Jason slithered back into the picture. Apparently, he caught Sarah cheating on him with her old college roommate. He found himself jobless, divorced, and basically homeless. He had the nerve to show up at my office, tears in his eyes, saying, "I made a mistake. Sarah manipulated me. Please take me back." I sat there, stunned. My entire staff was peeking over cubicles, watching this soap opera unfold live. Jason dropped to his knees dramatically, which made everyone cringe. Half of me wanted to burst out laughing at how ridiculous it all looked. The other half wanted to strangle him with a measuring tape. "Dude, you can't be serious," I said, rolling my eyes. "You and Sarah got married, trashed my life, and now you think I'm just going to forget everything?" He mumbled some apology, tears streaming. Before I could say a word, in rushed Dad. He'd heard Jason was there. Dad gave him one fiery look. "You have 5 seconds to get out," Dad growled. Jason scrambled away like a scared puppy. As if by cosmic timing, Sarah showed up that same night. She came to my parents' house, claiming she was broke, alone, and sorry. A flood of new misunderstandings erupted. She insisted she never really loved Jason. She was just jealous of me. She tried to spin some sob story about how she'd always felt neglected. "Mom always looked at you like you were perfect. Dad never fought me the way he fought you, because he didn't care enough. I was just invisible." Mom asked her gently, "Is that why you stole Laura's fiancé? Because you felt invisible?" Sarah nodded tearfully, but I could see a flicker of something else in her eyes. Maybe pride, maybe bitterness. Dad's face turned red. "Sarah, you put Laura through hell. We tried to help you your whole life. You refused. Now you expect us to just pretend you didn't burn the entire family bond to the ground?" Then came the comedic twist. Our neighbors, led by Mrs. Pickles, were eavesdropping at the window. I kid you not, you could see their silhouettes outside. One of them tripped over a flower pot, and the entire group tumbled inside, scattering across the living room floor like bowling pins. It would have been hilarious if the situation wasn't so intense. Everyone froze. Sarah started bawling. Mom started scolding the neighbors for being nosy. Dad just stared at the chaos, probably wondering if he should call the cops or laugh. In the midst of this living room circus, Sarah tried to hug me. I stepped back, unsure if it was sincere or another manipulation. She whimpered, "I swear I'm not the a-hole here. Am I?" The neighbors all chimed in at once. "Yes, you are." "Maybe she's changed, though." I saw a TV show once where the mean sister apologized and they became besties. Can we just finish that casserole on the counter? I'm starving. It was a tornado of confusion. Finally, Mom took control. Everyone, quiet. Let the sisters talk. The room fell silent. Sarah looked at me, tears streaming, her voice shaking. Am I the a-hole for trying to come back? I ruined your wedding, your relationship, but I don't want to lose my only sister. She paused, swallowing hard. Please tell me what to do and I'll do it. I felt a lump in my throat. Was this sincere or another twisted plot? Dad gave me a gentle nod, letting me know it was my call. Mom squeezed my hand. The neighbors, still sprawled around like a bizarre audience, waited for my reaction. I took a deep breath. Sarah, I'm not sure I'll ever fully forgive you. You hurt me in ways I didn't think were possible. But you're my sister. I won't hand you a get-out-of-jail-free card. But I also don't want to see you destroy your life. She started sobbing even harder. I'll do anything to fix this, she managed. Then go to therapy, I said firmly. Real therapy. Work on yourself, not just because it's what Mom wanted years ago, but because you need it. Okay, she nodded frantically. I promise. Did we hug? Sort of. It was awkward, but it felt like a tiny crack in the wall of anger between us. The neighbors, apparently deciding this was their cue, burst into applause. Dad wiped his eyes and muttered something about needing a strong drink. Mom exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for a decade. After all was said and done, Sarah disappeared for a few months to presumably get professional help. Jason was never heard from again. Aside from rumors that he might actually have joined a traveling circus, hey, stranger things have happened. I posted an update on Am I the A*** hole, asking if I was wrong to give Sarah a second chance. People were divided. Some said I was a saint for trying to mend the relationship. Others said I was setting myself up for more heartbreak. For now, I'm taking it day by day, focusing on my career and letting Sarah figure her own life out. Maybe we'll never be best friends, but at least we're not actively destroying each other, and that, dear viewers, is progress. One random Tuesday, a letter appeared in our mailbox. It was from Sarah. She wrote about how she realized she had always blamed others for her unhappiness, especially me. She felt lonely and angry, but realized it was her own doing. Enclosed was a small check, enough to cover some old costs for the wedding fiasco. She ended the letter with, I know money can't fix what I did, but it's a start. I'm sorry. It was a small gesture, but it made me feel like maybe there's hope for her after all. The comedic part? Mom read the letter, started crying, then insisted on having a Sarah appreciation dinner. Dad nearly choked on his coffee, laughing at the irony. But hey, if this is how healing starts, I'm not complaining.